The wedding was everything my sister Victoria had dreamed of. St. Margaret's Church in Westminster, 500 guests, a reception at the Guildhall. The budget had run to nearly £400,000, funded entirely by our parents, who'd mortgaged their future to give their golden child the perfect day. I stood at the back of the church in my simple navy dress, watching Victoria float down the aisle on Dad's arm. She looked radiant. Happy. Everything a bride should be. No one had asked me to be a bridesmaid. "You're so busy with your little government job," Mum had said when I'd asked. "We didn't want to burden you with the responsibilities." The real reason, I didn't photograph well enough for Victoria's vision. I was the plain sister. The one who'd chosen public service over social climbing. The disappointment. At the reception I found my assigned seat, table 17 at the back near the kitchen doors, with distant cousins and family friends no one particularly wanted to see. Mum appeared as I was sitting down, looking flustered in her champagne-colored mother-of-the-bride gown. "Charlotte, we're short on servers. The catering company didn't send enough staff. Would you mind helping pass champagne during the cocktail hour?" I blinked. "You want me to serve drinks at my sister's wedding? Just for an hour. You're here alone anyway, not really participating in anything. And we need help. Family helps family, darling." "Mum, I'm a guest. Please, Charlotte. Don't make this difficult. Victoria's already stressed. Just help with the drinks and then you can sit down for dinner." She walked away before I could protest further. I stood there, stunned, as other guests flowed past me into the reception hall. My phone buzzed in my clutch. A message from my private secretary. "PM wants briefing update on the France situation before tomorrow's cabinet meeting. Can you send notes by 9 p.m? I typed back, "Will do. Currently at family event but can work from here." Family event on a Saturday? Dedication above and beyond, ma'am. I almost laughed. If only he knew my family event involved being asked to serve drinks. One of the catering managers approached me looking harried. "Excuse me, are you Charlotte? Your mother said you'd help with service." "Apparently." She thrust a tray of champagne flutes into my hands. "Just circulate through the room, offer glasses, smile. Keep moving." For the next hour I walked through the reception hall in my navy dress, carrying champagne, being invisible. Guests took glasses without making eye contact. Some literally looked through me as if servers weren't quite real people. I passed my Aunt Margaret. "More champagne, how wonderful. You there, bring the tray closer." My cousin James didn't recognize me. "Cheers, love," he said, taking a glass without even glancing at my face. Victoria's new in-laws helped themselves to multiple glasses, complaining to each other that the service was slow. I was a ghost. A servant. Unrecognized by my own extended family. My phone buzzed again. A secure message from the Cabinet Office. "PM confirms your attendance at tomorrow's emergency session on European trade relations. Your assessment crucial to position." I set down my tray behind a pillar and pulled out my phone, scrolling through the classified briefing materials I'd need to review. "You there?" A sharp voice cut through my concentration. "Victoria's mother-in-law, Lady Pemberton. We need more champagne at the head table. Stop fiddling with your phone and do your job." I looked up at her. This woman whose son had just married my sister, who had no idea who I was. "Of course," I said quietly, picking up the tray. At the head table, Victoria saw me approaching with drinks and her eyes widened slightly. For a moment I thought she might acknowledge me. Might say something. Instead she turned to her new husband and whispered something. They both laughed. I set down the champagne and retreated. Dinner was announced. I returned to table 17, exhausted and humiliated. The meal was exquisite. Courses I barely tasted while checking my secure phone under the table, reviewing intelligence reports that needed my analysis. The speeches began. Dad talked about Victoria's achievements. Her first-class degree from Oxford, her successful career in art curation, her marriage to Charles Pemberton, whose family owned half of Gloucestershire. "We're so proud of both our daughters," Dad said, and I waited for him to mention me. He didn't. Mum spoke next, effusive about Victoria's beauty, grace, and success. "She's everything we could have hoped for in a daughter." Nothing about me. Victoria herself gave a speech thanking everyone. My parents who gave me everything. My husband who chose me. My friends who supported me. No mention of her sister. I was invisible. completely erased from my own family's narrative. My phone buzzed. A message from the Prime Minister's office. PM arriving at venue in 20 minutes. Security detail en route. He'd like a word before tomorrow's session. I stared at the message. The PM was coming here? To Victoria's wedding? I typed back, understood. I'll be available. 10 minutes later, my private secretary called. Ma'am, I apologize for the intrusion. The PM is in the area for another event and wanted to brief you personally on tomorrow's session. He's arriving at the Guildhall shortly. That's fine, James. I'm here. Security is sweeping the venue now. They'll notify you when he arrives. I excused myself from table 17, not that anyone noticed, and stepped into the hallway. 2 plainclothes protection officers were already positioning themselves at the entrances. One approached me. Dr. Harrison? We're securing the venue for the Prime Minister. He'll arrive in 5 minutes and would like to meet in the library. Understood. I walked to the library, a quiet room away from the reception. My phone rang, the PM himself. Charlotte, sorry to crash your family event. Cabinet's moved the emergency session to tomorrow morning and I need your frank assessment of the France situation before I go in. Of course, Prime Minister. I've prepared notes. Good. I'll be there in 3 minutes. We'll have a quick briefing and I'll let you get back to the wedding. He arrived exactly on schedule. Prime Minister David Reynolds, flanked by his chief of staff and 2 protection officers. He was in a dinner jacket, having come from a charity event. Charlotte. He shook my hand warmly. Thank you for accommodating this. I know it's your sister's wedding. Not a problem, sir. We settled into chairs and I walked him through the diplomatic situation. The French position on trade, the German concerns, our leverage points, recommended strategy. He took notes, asked sharp questions, nodded at my analysis. Brilliant. This is exactly what I needed. You'll present this at Cabinet tomorrow? Yes, sir. Excellent. You're invaluable, Charlotte. Truly. I don't know what we'd do without your expertise on European affairs. Thank you, Prime Minister. His chief of staff checked her watch. Sir, we need to move. The ambassador's dinner starts in 40 minutes. Of course. He stood, then paused. Charlotte, enjoy the rest of the wedding. And congratulations to your sister. We walked back toward the reception hall. The wedding guests were on dessert now, champagne flowing, music starting for the first dance. As we entered, someone noticed the commotion. The protection officers. The Prime Minister. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. The Prime Minister scanned the room, spotted the head table and walked directly toward it. Toward my parents, Victoria, and her new in-laws. My mother's face went white. My father stood abruptly, looking panicked. Prime Minister. Dad extended his hand, stammering. What an unexpected honor. We had no idea. Are you here for? I'm here to speak with my senior policy advisor on European affairs, the PM said pleasantly. She's a guest at your daughter's wedding, I understand. Your advisor? The PM turned, looking around the room. Charlotte? Are you still here? I stepped forward from where I'd been standing behind a pillar. Yes, Prime Minister. He smiled. Thank you again for the briefing. Invaluable as always. Every eye in the room locked onto me. My mother's mouth had fallen open. Victoria looked like she'd been slapped. Lady Pemberton, who'd ordered me to fetch champagne an hour ago, had gone completely pale. The PM continued, oblivious to the shock rippling through the room. I won't keep you from the festivities, but I wanted to personally thank you for accommodating the last-minute briefing. The cabinet session tomorrow is critical, and your analysis is exactly what we need. Happy to help, sir. Oh, and Charlotte, your paper on the Northern Ireland Protocol? The one you sent last week. Brilliant work. I've shared it with the Foreign Secretary. It's exactly the framework we need. Thank you, Prime Minister. He turned to my parents. You must be very proud. Charlotte is one of the finest minds in European policy. We're lucky to have her. Dad made a strangled sound. Mum just stared. The PM's protection detail was already moving him toward the exit. He paused at the door. Enjoy the wedding, Charlotte. See you tomorrow at number 10. He left. The silence in the reception hall was absolute. 500 guests staring at me. At the woman who'd been serving champagne an hour ago. Who'd been seated at table 17 with the overflow guests. Who'd been completely ignored by her own family. Victoria found her voice first, high and desperate. Charlotte, you know the Prime Minister? I work for him, yes. Doing what? I'm the Senior Policy Advisor on European Affairs. I brief Cabinet on EU relations, trade policy, diplomatic strategy. I've held the position for 3 years. My mother grabbed my arm. Why didn't you tell us? We had no idea you were that you worked with. I did tell you. Multiple times. Last Christmas I mentioned briefing the PM on Brexit negotiations. You asked if I was taking minutes at meetings. At Easter I talked about the Northern Ireland Protocol work. You asked if that was like filing paperwork. But you never said you were important. I said exactly what I did. You decided it wasn't important because I work in government instead of having a society career like Victoria. Lady Pemberton approached, her earlier hauteur completely gone. Dr. Harrison, I apologize. I didn't realize, when I asked you to fetch champagne. You thought I was a server. I was acting as a server because my mother asked me to help the catering staff. The woman looked at Mum with undisguised shock. Victoria was crying, her perfect makeup ruining. You made her serve drinks. Charlotte was serving drinks at my wedding. We needed help, Mum said weakly. She was alone anyway. I didn't think. You didn't think she mattered, I said quietly. You didn't think the single daughter without the impressive society marriage could possibly be doing anything significant. So you asked her to work as unpaid catering staff at her own sister's wedding. The room was still silent, 500 people witnessing my family's humiliation. My phone buzzed. A message from James. Ma'am, car is waiting to take you home. I assumed you'd want to leave early given the circumstances. I looked at my family, my parents mortified, Victoria, devastated that her perfect wedding had been overshadowed. The guests, all of them recalibrating their understanding of the invisible woman they'd ignored all evening. I have work to prepare for tomorrow's cabinet meeting, I said. Enjoy the rest of the reception. I walked out through the crowd which parted like the Red Sea. Behind me I heard the whispers starting. That's Charlotte Harrison, the European affairs expert. She briefed the Prime Minister tonight? And they had her serving champagne? Table 17. They seated her at table 17. I climbed into the waiting car, my government-provided security detail closing the door behind me. My phone rang. Victoria. I declined the call. Then Mum. Declined. Then Dad. Declined. I had briefing materials to review. A cabinet meeting to prepare for. Work that actually mattered. The cabinet meeting went perfectly. My analysis shaped the government's position on European trade. The Foreign Secretary specifically praised my paper. Afterward the Prime Minister pulled me aside. Charlotte, I heard what happened at your sister's wedding. Someone on the protection detail mentioned it. It's fine, sir. It's not fine. Your family had you serving drinks while you're one of the most important voices on British foreign policy. That's absurd. They didn't know. They should have asked. He paused. For what it's worth, the government knows your value. You're being considered for promotion. Deputy National Security Advisor. I looked up, stunned. Sir, You're ready for it. More than ready. We'll discuss details next week. But Charlotte, don't let family diminish what you've achieved. You're extraordinary at what you do. I didn't speak to my family for 6 weeks. Finally, Mum called and I answered. Charlotte, please. We need to talk. Your father and I are so sorry. We had no idea what you'd accomplished. We're so proud. Are you proud of what I've accomplished? Or proud that the Prime Minister noticed? Both. We're proud of both. You weren't proud when you thought I was just a mid-level government worker. You seated me at table 17 and asked me to serve drinks. We made a terrible mistake. You made a choice. A choice to decide I didn't matter because I don't have Victoria's society success. You erased me from the family narrative until someone important forced you to see me. He was crying. How do we fix this? I don't know if you can, Mum. I'm still processing the fact that my own mother asked me to work as unpaid labor at my sister's wedding. I'm so sorry. So am I. A year later, I was promoted to Deputy National Security Advisor. The youngest person to ever hold the position. My parents sent flowers and a card. We're so proud of you. Love, Mum and Dad. Victoria sent an email. I'm sorry. For everything. For not defending you. For being so wrapped up in my wedding that I let them treat you that way. Can we talk? I wrote back, maybe eventually, but not yet. I had a country to help protect, policies to shape, a career that mattered, and a family that finally understood what they'd had all along. But only after a prime minister made them see it. Because my own worth hadn't been enough. And that told me everything I needed to know. So I kept my distance, did my work, served my country, and let them regret the day they made me serve champagne. While I was busy shaping the future of British foreign policy. Some people never see what's right in front of them. Until someone more important forces them to look. And by then it's usually too late.